That's right. It's time to learn about computer science. Hi, I'm Harper Cates, and today I'm going to teach you about computer science. Now, the programming language we're going to use is Java, so don't really expect any other programming languages like Python, C++, or what have you. If there's a computer near you, then you should have access to the application BlueJ. BlueJ allows you to create programs in the Java language. Now, in the Java language, there are 3 laws that you must understand. Law number 1. Every line has to end with a semicolon unless it is followed by a left brace. This brings us to law number 2. Every left brace has a right brace. No exceptions. Law number 3. Now this one gets overlooked a lot. Classes are always capital while methods and variables are always lowercase. For example, if I want a class called photosynthesis, then the P has to be capitalized because it's class. Now for Java syntax. Oh my goodness, this is going to be really boring. As you know, classes start with capitals, but they do not have parentheses after them. Meanwhile, methods are lowercase, but they do have parentheses after them every time. Now you may be asking me, what the heck is a class, a method, and a variable? Well, say you got a large project that you're working on in Java. Inside that project is a class. Inside that class is a method, and inside that method is a variable. Methods perform the actions, and variables are basically X and Y. They're parameters that are given certain values. Now let's talk about the equal sign. If you have one equal sign, then that means gets the value of. For example, if you say x equals 20, then that now means that x is 20. But if you say 20 is x, then that means 20 receives the value of x. And if x doesn't have a value, then that would be an erratic statement. Now, when you have the double equal sign, 2 equal signs next to each other, that's when you're comparing values. This has a lot to do with Boolean type variables, which we'll get into shortly. Finally, there's dot equals with parentheses after it because it's a method. This is basically the same thing but for words instead of numbers. If you're new to Java, then you're probably going to use this main method a lot. Be sure to remember this. Public static void main string args in that format. Sounds like a lot to memorize, right? Well, once you get used to it, like using it 20 times, then you're probably going to remember it. If you want to print something out in Java, you can do that really easily. You just have to put system.out.println and whatever you want in quotes in parentheses. Remember to put the semicolon afterwards. Now on to variables. There are 5 different types of variables in Java. First we got int, which is a positive or negative integer. Next up is char, which is a single character. I might have pronounced that wrong, but whatever. It is a single character like the @ sign, the pound sign, or it's technically called an octothorpe or whatever. You could use a backslash, you could use a number, a letter, anything as long as it's one character. The third one is a string, and notice how it's capitalized because it's actually a class that is embedded in Java. A string is a combination of characters, which is usually words. Next up is Boolean, which can only take on 2 outcomes, true or false. And finally, there's double, which can take on any number, including integers, including non-integers. There are 2 steps to giving an object a value. Well, first you have to declare the object, then you have to give it a value. You can write something like int x, which makes x an integer variable, and then x equals 1 on the next line, which sets x equal to 1. However, this can also be done in the same line. You could write int x equals 1, which will set x equal to 1, and set x as an integer value. Now that you know how to use variables, you can print something out without having to use quotation marks. For example, if you say int x equals 23, and then do system.out.println x in parentheses, it will print out 23 in a far more efficient manner. And let's say you have 2 variables, x and y. You set them equal to 5 and 10 respectively. So here's what happens when you say system.out.println x plus y. It prints out 15 because they added x and y to get 15. However, if you print out this, it will not equal 15. It will output 5 plus 10. This shows the difference between adding and appending. So you know how system.out.println has a lot of dots in it? Well, println is actually a method that kind of explains why there's parentheses after it, and system.out is actually an object of that method. The object performs the function of the method. The syntax object.method parentheses. Last thing, we're going to talk about errors. First off is a syntax error, which is a grammatical mistake in the program. These are relatively easy to detect because the compiler outputs a message. Next is a runtime error, which is not detected until the program is run. The most difficult error to detect is the logic error, because there's no error message displayed. The logic error is when your program does not work as intended. That's it for now. This has been Harper Cates from Project E. Until next time.
Which subject are we gonna teach next?
Spin the wheel to find out. Next time on Project E!